Record. All right. Move you guys up here. Perfect. So today we're talking about essential oils and pain management, and it's going to be everything from chronic pain to emotional pain, and then occasional pain. So let's start by talking about, so chronic pain would be something that is a part of your daily life. On a scale of 1 to 10, just circle a number. And then for emotional pain, I am just going to mute. I forgot to mute everybody. For emotional pain, this is something that people often feel internally, like in their guts, or if you can't get out of bed, or, it doesn't have to be like 1 being slight, 10 being something that affects you on a day-to-day basis. And then occasional pain, I have good days and bad days. So just circling a number 1 to 10 of like how often that affects you. I also want you to, on your paper, write a name. It can be yourself or someone you know that struggles with each one of these. Sometimes when we don't struggle with these things, it's hard for us to connect. So if you write somebody else's name that you love or care about, it'll help you connect with what we're talking about tonight. All right. And then with whichever one you had the highest number for yourself, I want you to circle on your body where you feel that the most. Even if it's emotional pain, it can be in your head, it can be in your gut, it can be in your heart area. And then if it's chronic pain, maybe for me, my ankles always give me trouble. If you're doing this class for your husband or someone else, you can circle where they have their pain, or a child that you know where they most often have their pain. All right. So we have talked about our foundational support before, being the Lifelong Vitality Pack, but I want to bring your attention to this pyramid, and this is kind of how doTERRA looks at. It's not a food pyramid, but it's just kind of a pyramid of how do we take care of ourselves. And so there's lifestyle choices that we make by eating right, exercising, and weight management. But I kind of want to give you an understanding of, give you an analogy of eating right. And so when we have a plant in our house, for me, I can never keep succulents alive, but I buy them all the time. And it's like this constant game for me. I'm like, I've heard different things like putting an ice cube in there and letting it melt over time. Do I spray it? My current system is spraying it with a water bottle, like very light mist more often, because I think I overlove succulents. But just a plant in general, when we have them, we typically try to figure out what it is it needs more of and less of. And that's what we do with our bodies when they're not feeling right, is we typically are trying, like, if we're not eating right, then we're like, ooh, it's time for me to get my diet into action and figure out what I need to do to eat right. And there's oftentimes gaps in our diet, and that's where the Lifelong Vitality Pack comes in and is our foundation. And so we've talked about this before, but what the Lifelong Vitality Pack does is specifically when it comes to chronic pain, is when we have stress in our body, it's called oxidative stress. And Lifelong Vitality Pack helps get rid of that stress in our body, which ends up inflaming our joints, which is not what we want. But it also boosts our immune system and gives us joint health. And when our joints hurt, it's hard for them. We become like the Tin Man. And so the Lifelong Vitality Pack can help lubricate our joints. And I have a number of friends that have arthritis, and so they take the Lifelong Vitality Pack because they're in their late 30s. They don't want to take Humira for the rest of their life, especially now when it is an immune suppressant. And so they take a lower dose of their arthritis medicine and then add in the Lifelong Vitality Pack to help supplement that, to make sure that they can go through the day without being like the Tin Man and having a lot of pain. And with the current conditions, we definitely want to have a increased immune system. So this is going to be your foundation to make sure that you are giving your body all of the nutrients that it needs. We've talked about this a lot, but this is definitely one that I notice when I don't take it, that throughout the day, I begin to have less and less and less energy, and I'm a little bit more snippy with my kids and my husband, and I'm like, what is my deal? Why can't I pull it together? And I always remember, oh yeah, I didn't take my vitamins this morning. So I know people with joint pain have had a lot of success with this, but for me, it's just good for my emotional pain that I have throughout the day. So we're going to talk about how LLV supports you in different ways. So I touched on the oxidative stress, which causes the inflammation. And when we have inflammation in our bodies, that's when we feel the pain, is because the inflammation is pushing up against our joints and throughout our body and makes us more squeaky, like the Tin Man. And so it also helps our bone health. It gives us calcium, magnesium, zinc, and vitamin D, which we need in order to, if you need strong bones in order to have strong joints. And what I always tell people in my yoga classes is, I have this woman that always grinds her teeth at night, and she's like, but I have pain in my feet, or she'll like have pain in weird parts of her body when she grinds her teeth a lot at night. And I'm like, your whole body is completely connected. And so if you're having pain in your joints, that calcium and magnesium and zinc is going to help your joints move better, and you'll have more comfort. Emotional pain. So this is the one that I know the most about because I've struggled with it myself, but I also have a number of friends that have struggled with emotional pain and gotten on the Lifelong Vitality Pack instead of using their prescribed antidepressants or anti-anxiety meds, or they've been able to lower the dose on their medications. And so this is what I did. Was I was taking Adderall for ADD and I didn't want to be on it anymore. And so I started using oils and LLV to help with my concentration. But I do know a number of people that have gotten off of antidepressants and replaced it with LLV. In no way am I saying that LLV is a replacement for going to counseling, especially if you have experienced trauma or are grieving. LLV is not going to help you with that. But if there's something chemically going on in your brain, there is your omega-3s, which a lot of us are deficient in because of just the food in America and what our soils are like. And most 70% of our neurotransmitters are in our gut, and which is more than are in our brain. And so what LLV does is it helps get your gut health under control, and that then allows your body to get the omega-3s that it needs in its brain as well. If your body is super overloaded in its gut and it can't heal itself there, then your brain isn't getting everything that it needs either. And so basically what you're doing when you have poor gut health is you're starving your brain. So a lot of diets are thrown out there, and one of the things, in no way am I saying that if you are vegan or vegetarian that you need to switch this, but I heard one study, so you can research it and tell me if I'm wrong, and I'm sure that I told you this, but they're finding a lot now in vegans and vegetarians that they have dementia later in life, and it's because they're not getting the fats that they need in order to give their brain the health that it needs. And so when you're taking on a specific diet, you need to think about, oftentimes we think of our physical health in what we see and not the health of our brain. And our brain needs fat. And I'm not saying that you should be keto or what you should be, because I don't know enough about those individual diets, but I do know that my gut has dramatically changed, and the way my clarity. I have 3 children and they do not sleep through the night, even though they should. So I oftentimes feel very frazzled. I always take on like 32 tasks in a day as well. And so it allows me to have more clarity throughout my day. And I'm open to talking more about emotional health with anybody individually as well, because that is where I feel like I've experienced the most gain with taking LLV. But if occasional pain is something that you experience and you're every once in a while take Tylenol or what is the other one? I don't even know. Can't remember because I don't take them very much. But what I've found is that when I don't take my LLV, my ankles are a lot more squeaky. And when I'm running, I get a little bit more injuries and joint pain. And so I would call that occasional pain, because typically I would just take Tylenol or ibuprofen, that's what it's called, in order to help with that. And now I probably take 2 Tylenol a year. But so I would say that it dramatically helps in occasional pain. I don't have chronic pain, but I do know people that do, and they say that they've had great results with LLV. Does anybody have any questions about everything that I talked about? Okay. So I do want to take time to talk about I want to get this guy out of the way. Sorry, I just need to let it go. So the dangers of taking prescription pain medications, I know that it is controversial topic and something that is needed at times as well, but it is highly, highly, highly addictive. And so it's just something to think about. I feel like when I was young, it wasn't a thought of if I would take my hydrocodone after I got my wisdom teeth pulled out. It was just like, that's happening. And I am total proponent of pain medication. I've had 3 epidurals. I think that they are amazing, but within, we have to look at the side effects of what we're putting into our body. And oftentimes it's considered very safe for teens to take, and they are their body weights aren't considered, but also they're teenagers are at a stage in life where they are easily influenced, and anytime they have extra pills left over, you don't know where those pills can go. And so if you have a teen, or they should be monitored with teens, and haven't been in the past. Like now there is such a epidemic in America with this that they are more regulated. They give you a sense of false euphoria, which can lead to addiction. The withdrawal symptoms are not pleasant, where you get insomnia, leg spasms, vomiting, diarrhea, cold spasms, and they're super overprescribed. So just know that, and I don't know, it really depends on what doctor you go to, and hopefully you guys are going to good doctors, but and researching all of that, but that's not available to everyone. And so just, I really encourage people, before you go into a surgery and you are prescribed, kind of feeling out what you are going to need, because it really does affect your digestive system a lot. You can have constipation, bloating, nausea, but these are symptoms that can last a really, really long time, which there are, of course, oils to help you. So if you do need to take them, get your digestion ready. And so if you do take pain medicine, it's of course important that you increase your water intake. And if you need to wean yourself off of them, finding a way to replace the habit. But I, of course, need to say this because my dad is a drug and alcohol counselor. So, in my family has struggled with addiction. So I would say, if you're at a point where you're like needing to wean yourself off, or know somebody that needs to, that counseling to get through that is probably the best thing to do. And if you need a good drug and alcohol counselor, I know one. He does online appointments. All of his appointments are online now. But then also, like, taking more LLV would be great to help your body repair if it's after surgery. And does anybody want to ask any questions about things that they could do to not necessarily wean yourself off, but you have a surgery and you're going to have to take them? I don't do pain, and so I totally understand if it's something. Feel free to message me. All right. So I'm going to give you some sample wellness box ideas, but when I do it, I'm also going to, before I do it, I want to show you guys a video of somebody's experience using Copaiba for pain. And it's only 54 seconds.
Okay, so what are we doing? What shape? What oil have you put on?
Copaiba.
Copaiba, nice.
And it's the only thing what helps me to get the shaking under control.
Nice.
And I use it all the time before I do any writing or make anything, cooking or something, so that I have control over my hands.
Cool. We might stop it there for a sec and we'll come back in about another minute or two. Oh, look at that already. Don't worry about coming back. Check that out. That's amazing.
That is really terrific.
Oh, I'm so glad you're using Copaiba.
I just love that example of like getting to see.
Oh, frankincense oil has been sought after since ancient times.
And it has been sought after since ancient times. It's even in the Bible. All right. We've talked about that before. So for some of you that this is your first class with me, a wellness box is just getting a monthly order from doTERRA. And so here are just some ideas of what you could do. I'm going to explain the two wellness boxes and then I'm going to show you why turmeric is so amazing. It's a 2-minute video, and I feel like they do better than I do. So if you have joint pain, turmeric is super amazing for your gut, but I know that you've heard about turmeric before, and it's really great for inflammation. And what doTERRA has done is they've made it double encapsulated with the oil and the powder, because they both have different chemical constituents, and doTERRA knows that you need both, and so they put both in the capsule. And then Deep Blue Rub is hands down, I call it yoga in a bottle, because when I was training for a run, I never had time to stretch, and I would just put it on my knees and my ankles, and I never stretched, and I never had any trouble. And then when I was going on long runs, I used to take like Tylenol or ibuprofen instead of instead of Deep Blue capsules. So they have it in a capsule form, and if you have the oil at home, you are not going, there's something in it that you can't ingest. So the Deep Blue capsules you can ingest, and so I would take a Deep Blue capsule before I would go on my runs, and that made a huge difference as well. And so that's something that I kind of replace my Tylenol or ibuprofen with, and it's an all natural supplement. I feel like every week they come out with new reasons that you're not supposed to take Tylenol and ibuprofen. It's like, okay, I'm glad that I don't, because I know some people that take it daily. And if you are one of those people, get yourself some Deep Blue capsules. If you have muscle pain and that's something that you really struggle with, I would do the turmeric as well. And my doTERRA mentor says that if every person was taking LLV, turmeric, and frankincense, our guts and health would be completely better. And if our health is better, then our world is better, because we can serve each other better. And so people in pain are not very nice. So if you know somebody in pain, get them some turmeric. I'll come put you to bed in a minute. I have a 3-year-old. And then copaiba is something that I also take every night. You need to go find your dad. And this is one that I'm obsessed with for so many different reasons, but because it's good for digestion, it's great for sleep, it's great for anxiety. So this is my nighttime routine, and right around bath time in the evening is when I take it as well. And then if you're looking for an oil to rub on the actual point of pain, marjoram is awesome. It's also really good if you put it in Indian food, and really good in the diffuser as well. So that's just a little, I love how versatile oils are, because you can use them for everything. And then I would also get the Deep Blue Rub. So I do want to take the time, because we have time, to share how doTERRA is just super diligent on making sure that their products are sourced from a place where it originated. They take care of the people and that are growing it, but they also are making sure that it's created in a way that's best for us. So we're going to give them 2 minutes and 37 seconds.
When we look at the whole plant of turmeric, we know that it has great value. Part of the thought process has been, what would happen if we kept more of the whole plant together and combined?
The turmeric root has a couple different molecules that benefit the body. The first are their curcuminoids, which have been used for their antioxidant properties, as well as their ability to support a healthy inflammatory response within the body. The other key compounds are turmerones. These are small aromatic molecules known for their neuroprotective benefits. However, both curcuminoids and turmerones are found in very low concentrations in the plant. That's why we produced turmeric essential oil last year. The steam distillation process pulls out the highest possible concentration of tumerones so that we end up with a high-quality essential oil that contains about 70% tumerones. However, because curcuminoid molecules aren't volatile, they don't transition into steam through the distillation process. A high-quality turmeric essential oil shouldn't have any curcuminoids present in the chemistry if it's been distilled in the right way. In order to get the turmeric product with a high concentration of curcuminoids, you have to extract them using a solvent, which is a completely separate process from steam distillation. The issue with turmeric products on the market is that they've had to make a choice between a product high in tumerones or a product high in curcuminoids. There's never been a product that utilizes the full potential of turmeric root, because you need both of these compounds together in high concentration with the right delivery model to maximize the benefits of turmeric.
So this was the challenge we faced. We knew we would have to extract these key compounds through completely separate processes, and we needed to find a way to combine them back into one product in the end. After over 3 years of work on this one product, I can finally say that we have created the first ever turmeric dual chamber capsule. The outer layer has a 70% concentration of tumerones, and the inner chamber has turmeric powder with a 95% concentration of curcuminoids. It's a revolutionary technology that combines all the best parts of this one plant.
This has not been done before. And I'm really excited about the prospect that this creates, and not just in this one product, but the opportunity for us to be creative going forward. doTERRA is always going to lead from the front, always going to be creative. However, I would add creative with a purpose.
All right. So yes, turmeric, LLV, and frankincense. Those are 3 starter blocks. But there's so many products that we can use in order to heal our individual pain and our individual story. So a way that I use my LLV for my emotional pain, but then also throughout the day, if I know it's going to be a long day, I'll take my adaptive capsule at the beginning of the day, or if I begin to kind of go downhill where it's like my kids have drove me crazy, then I get my adaptive. And I can almost always have my adaptive roller bottle in my purse with me, and then I diffuse adaptive for my kids a lot, but I also it smells fantastic, so I use it as a perfume too. Elevation is one of my favorite oils. It smells like happiness in a bottle, so you won't be sad that you bought that. And then frankincense is one that I've told you before. I use it on my face, and then I put it under my tongue in the morning and in the evening. And I can tell you that I use all of these products, which and that's one of the things where it's like, do you have all of that pain? And it's like, when you start using doTERRA, you begin feeling better and better. And you're like, it's like that plant where it's like, my succulent is finally surviving. So now I'm going to hone in on this and this and this part of my well-being. And you begin to feel better and better. And so you can start having joint pain, but then you're like, ooh, that adaptive would make me feel better because now we're dealing with coronavirus or whatever. I also use all of these products. I take the peppermint capsules are great for people that have colitis or any intestinal issues. I just take them because they make me feel better. And what I love about them is they're double encapsulated, so they make sure that they don't burn off in your gut and they go to your lower intestine. Because a lot of times probiotics will burn off in your stomach and then your gut never really sees the benefits. And so that our probiotic for kids and for adults is also double encapsulated to make sure that your stomach and your intestines are getting the healing. Terrazyme is our digestive enzyme. And so I got a little bit more information about the difference between PB Assist and Terrazyme. And Terrazyme is a digestive enzyme, and so that helps you digest your actual food and get the most nutrients. And probiotic gives you the bacteria that your body needs in order just to thrive. And so our guts are super complex, just like our brains are. I'm not sure which one's more complex. I'm not a scientist, but I would love to know that. But so I take both of these, a probiotic and the digestive enzymes. And especially right now, a probiotic is super, super important for your immune health. And then digestin, I have been taking this in a capsule because I've been eating really, really bad. We did 2 trips in a weekend, like 2 different weekends, and then with 4th of July, my gut is kind of like not happy with me, and I'll talk more about that in the Symphony of the Cells class. And then the tummy tamer, I use it all the time on my kids. All the time. I also use it on myself. If they come to me and they're just like, oh, I have tummy pain, I'll roll that on them and have them put their knees in their chest. And I don't know if I've ever had to reapply it. I can't remember a time. If you struggle with migraines, I would say here LLV is going to be super, super important because you're going to be getting those omegas that your brain needs. And then copaiba is going to help relieve that tension. Frankincense, past tense, you would actually roll on wherever you had the migraine. And that is like peppermint times 1,000. So it really, really, I usually only use peppermint, but if I need to do a second apply, I'll do past tense. I also use that on achy joints if my deep blue rub I'm actually out of deep blue rub right now. So between orders, if I didn't have it, I'd use past tense. And then eucalyptus is also really good in putting on that head tension. So are there any questions? That was a lot of information. So I'm going to move you guys over here. And then feel free to unmute yourself. Or you can send me a message privately if it's not something that you want to chat about. But do you guys all see the chat box on the side? To get my phone number, or should I write it on a card? All right. Let's have that focus. It's backwards.
You're still recording.
I know. Thank you. I thought of that. I was like, wait a second. I'm going to pull this down for a minute.